going on, guys? Matt Manduke here, and of course I have another drone flight. I want to wish you all a happy Labor Day, and this is what I did with my Labor Day. Yesterday I was going to drive a little further and go to a truck stop, but because the four-wheelers were being a huge pain in the ass both yesterday and the day before, and because the day before yesterday? Yeah, the day before yesterday I came from New Jersey. I did my grocery shopping when I was in New Jersey. Yesterday I showered before I left where I was that night, so I didn't need to go to a truck stop, and so I didn't go to a truck stop. I stopped here. This is about 30 miles further from my destination in Atlanta, but I wasn't that worried about it. What I zoom in on here is Casper, because he likes to watch me fly. And where I took off, you got to see some of the landscaping that is at this Georgia Welcome Center, which I do like Georgia rest stops, but I opt to go to rest stops a lot of times for my resets instead of going to a truck stop, unless I need to do things like grocery shopping or showering. If I have to go grocery shopping, then I'm gonna go to a truck stop so I can drop my trailer, because I'm not really supposed to do that, or the rest areas. And then I can drive the truck over to go grocery shopping. Now those are tulip trees that you're looking at there. Apparently they attract spiders. I don't know, but there's a lot of spiders in that area. And that's the area where I was playing with Casper, throwing balls and just letting him run around generally and, you know, do his business, which gets him the extra exercise. Truck stops do have dog spots, but the dog spots they have aren't as big and open. They're not as nice. Georgia actually goes above and beyond for their rest areas, and I appreciate that. As you can see, there's lots of truck parking, and you only actually see half of it here because I parked about in the middle. And there's plenty of car parking too, as you can see now. That building has vending machines and restrooms, and they might have some information about the state. I don't know. I don't go in them too often. I use the restrooms. Sometimes I use the vending machines, but I'm not interested in exploring the state because that's not why I'm there. And if I ever come to Atlanta to explore, take days off here or whatever, well, I'll pre-plan that before I get here, so it's not like I'm going to get to the welcome center and be like, okay, I need information. But if that's something that you're going to do, then, you know, they might be able to teach you some things that you don't already know, because they are local and they know more about the state because that's their job. Now this road I'm following here, I was sort of interested in because there's a road that goes beyond the area where I'm playing with Casper, and that's what it is. But then I get distracted by the dirt road that's off to the left, and I start following that. And then as I'm following that, I can see there's a lake in the distance, and I get the idea that I'm going to go out to the lake. And I'm not sure if I can make it that far, because that is actually fairly far away. In drone distance, it's pretty far away. But it looks like there's some animals in the grass, and like it's, I mean, Georgia's gorgeous, don't get me wrong. It is a little bit mundane to drive through, but not entirely, because people generally in Georgia can't drive. And the majority of Georgia, I'm going to Atlanta, and Atlanta cannot drive to save their lives. Although New Jersey wasn't too bad. Pennsylvania, 676 being shut down was a nightmare. And the way people drive was a nightmare. Although all the cars that were of note, because the ones that aren't black, white, or gray and brand new kind of stand out to me, and I can watch them. And the ones that were going the same distance as me had to pass me again after, or the same direction as me, had to pass me again after we got into New Jersey, because I was a better driver than them in heavy traffic. But of course I am. But yeah, so I get to the water, and you can see they have boathouses here as well. In fact, this might be the same lake, just on the other side, that I was flying on, or well, a while ago, but earlier this year. And you can see that, or not the lake, it's the same river. And I believe it is, because I'm on the eastern side of the state now. I'm coming in on I-85, and you will see I-85 in this video. Well, when I got to the water, the drone started telling me that I was exceeding the distance that it could go. So I kind of turned and went to a kind of sort of back distance, but I could see that like there where it reconnected, I was able to zoom in on the water, and you really couldn't see any animals or any of that. But and of course that's what I always look for, is animals in the water, specifically gators. But gators, they are in Georgia, but they're not as common this far north in Georgia, because they like that tropical weather that you find in southern Florida, and they do exist all over, like in the south, but they're not super common. But then I see this cell phone tower, and I'm like, hey, let me fly toward that, because I can go a little higher, and I can actually look at it. I do have full 4G signal here, and that's probably because of this tower. But then I'm not paying attention to how far away I'm going, so I'm thinking, oh, well, I'm gonna cut off to the side of that, and then the drone again is telling me, hey, I already told you that you were too far away at the water. Now you're even further away. Get your ass back into range. So I actually did that. I started flying back into toward, because you can see off to the right, that open area, that's actually where I'm parked, where the rays of light are flooding in. That's me, Casper, and my truck. Of course, because that's how things are, because we're great and godly, of course, because for years I've been known as godly on the internet. But then, flying through here, it's, different shades of green, grass and trees. It is beautiful around here, but beautiful in a different sense. As actually, my next drone flight is going to be one I made a few weeks ago that I haven't felt like editing it, so it hasn't happened. But immediately after I get done with this one, I'm going to edit that one, and then it's going to come out later this week, and that's in Montana. That's a completely different kind of beauty, and really all my drone flights. This one isn't dramatically different than like the one I did in New Jersey at Pembroke, or I forget what it was, but because it has shipping centers and trees and water. But it's also different because it is actually Georgia, and this is a lot of Georgia looks like this, and it's all well landscaped, and the grass is always greener. Realistically, it is greener, and I don't want to encourage people to move to Georgia necessarily, unless you're Republican, because they do have problems here that could be fixed because they're at that teetering level. So then I start thinking, hey, I can go check out that water tower. And I do zoom in on it, and on the little screen on the phone, I couldn't see whether or not I couldn't see what the text on it said, and really on the little screen that I'm watching to do the narration, I still can't read the text. But nothing too exciting about a shipping center. I've seen enough of them personally, and this is the fly back toward where I took off from and where I'm standing. But I actually follow along the rest area, which it's a welcome center. It's only 2 miles into Georgia, so it's actually, and they have these in almost every state. They have welcome centers that are usually bigger, usually have more parking and sometimes more amenities, but they also have a lot of information about the state, sometimes about local wildlife, which is like kind of nice. I like to see that information. And there are a few other places that I'd like to fly at that I've been to that I didn't because of weather problems. But today the weather was great, and it's a holiday. I have done Labor Day flights before. Years ago I did the Avalon Labor Day flight, and that was with the old DJI Spark versus the Mavic 2 Zoom. But you can see how the pathways are all structured and the landscaping is all done. And of course I'm showing the truck parking because I wanted to get to my truck, because that's where I'm standing, and it's easier to figure that out. And then once I get to my truck, I'm going to start flying based on looking at the actual drone as opposed to looking at the camera, which I don't think was really the best idea because it's not as smooth. But there's me. You can see me down there. I'm only about, I want to say 200 feet above that, which is a little better. But like I said, as I zoom in, it's not as smooth of flying as it is when I'm actually looking at the camera. But I wanted to look at the drone, that way I can look at the drone. Casper, can you not cry? Come on, dude. But anyway, guys, this is getting to be the end of the video, so I want to thank you for watching. You know I wouldn't do this without you. I'll see all my friends in my next video. Oh, well, I kind of overshot that one, huh? Because I was in the middle of letting Casper get in the back because he's been being an asshole about that. But yeah, so I smile, and that's it.